Welcome. This video will explain to you the different features in the Washington Student Achievement Council's FAFSA completion portal. This is how you get to the portal. You can go to the WSAC homepage, which is wsac.wa.gov, and click on the link labeled the Portal Financial Aid Administration. Once you click on that link, it will bring you to this screen. If you click on the link labeled View FAFSA Completion Statistics, you will be brought to the public part of the portal. The public part of the portal has the links to find publicly available aggregate data. Aggregate data is suppressed. The suppression means that some data will not be shown if the group size is smaller than 20. This suppression is to protect student privacy. There are two dashboards. One is the Washington State Public School Expected Graduates FAFSA Completion Dashboard, and the other is the Strategic Action Plan Dashboard. The first dashboard is based on the WSAC FAFSA Completion Portal. This data comes from two data sources, OSPI enrollment records from CEDARS and the FAFSA applications from the U.S. Department of Education. The portal then matches the student apps with the data from the OSPI student records. This will be discussed further into the video. This dashboard is updated on a weekly basis on Tuesday and has a variety of information throughout the dashboard. You can see information on the school, district, and state level. In addition, current rates are shared in the current views, while historic rates can be examined in the rate over time views. These only have percentage rates. Counts are only shown for the state level of FAFSA completion and your senior size according to the portal. Organizations and resources that can support your FAFSA completion efforts can also be found in additional resources, organizational resources. You can navigate the dashboard by clicking on the buttons in the dashboard index menu and can also navigate back to the main menu by clicking on the dashboard index button at the top. The second dashboard is the Strategic Action Plan dashboard, and this showcases various metrics being examined by WSAC. The part of interest for FAFSA portal users is the affordability section, which has various metrics related to FAFSA completion of high school seniors. People can explore the data to see the breakdown of information related to various regions and related to subgroup information. This can be done by clicking on Learn More. This dashboard is updated on a yearly basis and has information for end of class year rates. Now that we have discussed the dashboards, let's discuss two major definitions. Submitted means that the student's FAFSA was submitted to the U.S. Department of Education. Completed means that the student's FAFSA was processed with no errors. We will discuss later on the specific FAFSA completion statuses on the FAFSA completion portal. The next topic is the data sharing agreements and non-disclosure agreements. Public suppressed aggregate data can be accessed by anyone on the dashboards. This makes these dashboards good links to share to people who work outside of the school or do not serve students directly with their individual FAFSA applications. If you work at a school or at the school district, as well as help students directly with their FAFSA applications, you can access student level data by signing data sharing agreements with the Washington Student Achievement Council. Districts must have a signed data sharing agreement and non-disclosure agreements for every user to access student-specific data. The data sharing agreements are signed at the district level. Users can either request access for specific schools or the entire district, depending on the scope of support they are giving to students. If you're interested in getting access and work in an organization such as a nonprofit that works directly with all students in a specific senior class, you can also request to have access granted for student level data. For getting access to student level data and getting your employees logins to the portal, please email us at fafsa@wsac.wa.gov to request access. We will then send you instructions and the appropriate paperwork. If you already have another account, such as with the College Bound portal, you will already have an account username. Signing the NDA will get your permissions added for FAFSA completion portal. If you do not have another account with the WSAC secure portal, you will receive an activation link once your NDA has been submitted and reviewed. So once you do have a username, to get into the portal and view student level FAFSA completion data, you'll want to go back to the login screen, and you can log in right up at the top by putting your school email address and then your password, which you'll have after you complete the setup process. If you've forgotten your password, you can use the Forgot It link to reset it. If you don't have access yet and want to request access, you can use one of the links down here, this one particular for the FAFSA completion portal, to get in touch with WSAC and ask for access to the portal. Once you log in, you will click on Programs in the top left, and then you'll click on FAFSA completion. You'll use the top tabs to navigate the FAFSA portal. The first tab, the Home tab, contains tables and graphs showing FAFSA completion data for your school and district. The data is unsuppressed. This tab will show your user information, which is the information that we have about you that you use to create your account. That is the My Account tab. The Students tab can be used to view your individual students' FAFSA completion statuses. The last tab, the Resources tab, contains other FAFSA completion resources that might be helpful. Once you're on the Students tab, this is what you'll see. This screenshot has SSIDs, last names, first names, and birth dates all removed because we can't show that in this demonstration. But when you pull up your student list, these fields will be filled in. Once you're on this screen, you can use the different search criteria to narrow your search for your students. If you have access to more than one school or more than one district, you can use the drop-down school or district to pick which school or district you'd like to search. You can use the drop down for school year to change the class year that you're searching for. If you're looking for a particular student, you can use one of the three boxes labeled SSID, last name, or first name to search for the specific students. If you're looking for students with a particular status, you would use one of the checkboxes down here to narrow your list. If you have no conditions set, and you click the search, then you'll see your entire student list. Once you have your list narrowed, or if you're viewing your whole list, you can use the export button to export what you see into an Excel spreadsheet. You can use this blue link labeled View Details to the far right of each student to view the details of their record and their match status. When viewing your student list, you see any one of three different FAFSA completion statuses listed. Complete means that the student's FAFSA was processed with no errors. Submitted but incomplete means it was submitted correctly, and yet there are errors on the FAFSA application which are affecting it being listed as complete. If it says not submitted, then likely the student has not submitted a FAFSA. It's possible, though much less common, that the student's OSPI record and their FAFSA data did not match. If you think this is the case, then you can get in touch with WSAC staff at FAFSA at wsac.wa.gov and we'll help you troubleshoot. Here is an example of a not submitted record. Once you click on the View Details link to the far right on your student list, it'll bring you to a screen that looks a lot like this. Under FAFSA Details, it'll explain that we couldn't find a strong enough matching FAFSA record. This means no FAFSA apps have at least 10% matching criteria with the student record data. Once you're on the View Details screen, if you want to go back to your student list, and the search that you just did, you can click on the link Return to Student Search. This is a match for a record that has errors, but the important thing that I want to draw your attention to on this particular example is there is a button labeled Report False Match. It asks you this to determine if you know that this is not the correct match for the student. This does not mean we are suggesting that it is a false match. In most cases, it won't be. We're simply giving you an opportunity as a portal user, should the match be wrong, to correct it. Here's the detail screen for an unmatched record again. However, in this instance, the FAFSA matcher thinks that it may have found a possible match, but it's just not sure. If you see this blue button, click it and it'll bring you to a screen where you can review the possible match. You can then confirm or deny the match based on whether you think that is or isn't the FAFSA for the student represented over here. This is a crucial step for portal users, as it is important for you to check regularly if there are not submitted students who have possible matches. A way to make it easier to find these possible matches, you can click on the Not Submitted checkbox and sort by the match column. By clicking on it twice, those with possible matches should be at the top with a number listed. Another important thing to note is that the FAFSA completion portal matches based on matching criteria such as name, zip code of residence, and date of birth. If a student is not matching, one of the most common reasons for this is that the name is not matching enough. You can review the information on the FAFSA application and entry in the FAFSA completion portal, which is based on the reported senior's name to OSPI. This is the Resources tab. You'll see other helpful information such as links to the FAFSA application, information on the WSPA, information on the 12th year campaign, which has a multitude of resources for FAFSA completion. You will also see the FAQs document has also been updated with the most common questions that have appeared in recent years in relation to the FAFSA completion portal. If you have any questions about the video or about the portal, please reach out to FAFSA at wsac.wa.gov. Thank you greatly for watching, and please let us know if there's anything needed.